The Saturday morning sun cast long shadows across the parking lot of Riverside Commons, the upscale townhouse community where I'd lived for the past 3 years. I was filling up my orange Ford Ranger at the private fuel station near the clubhouse, one of the few perks of living in an HOA that charged astronomical fees. The pump hummed quietly as premium gasoline flowed into my tank, and I was enjoying a rare moment of peace on my day off. I'm Marcus Webb, Police Chief of Riverside Township. After 25 years in law enforcement, working my way up from patrol officer to my current position, I'd earned the right to enjoy my weekends without drama. I was dressed in civilian clothes, worn jeans, a comfortable brown jacket, and my favorite baseball cap. Nothing about my appearance screamed law enforcement, which was exactly how I liked it when I wasn't on duty. I was scrolling through my phone, checking the weather forecast of my afternoon fishing trip, when I heard the aggressive rev of an engine behind me. A silver Mercedes SUV pulled up so close to my truck that I could practically feel the heat from its engine. The driver laid on the horn, a long, obnoxious blast that shattered the morning quiet. I glanced over my shoulder and immediately recognized the driver, Patricia Pemberton, the self-appointed queen of Riverside Commons. She was president of the HOA board and had made it her personal mission to make everyone's life miserable with her endless rules and regulations. I'd managed to avoid her for the most part, keeping my head down and paying my dues on time. The horn blared again, longer this time. I calmly continued pumping gas, refusing to be rushed. The pump clicked off at exactly $50. I carefully returned the nozzle to its holder and screwed my gas cap back on, taking my time. Through it all, Patricia continued honking, each blast more insistent than the last. Finally, I turned to face her. She had rolled down her window and was leaning out, her face contorted with rage. Her blonde hair was styled in that helmet-like way that screamed, "I want to speak to the manager," and she wore a hot pink blazer that was so bright it practically glowed. "Move your truck," she screamed. "I need gas, and you're taking forever." I held up my hands in a calming gesture. "Just finish, ma'am. All yours." I climbed into my truck and started the engine, but before I could shift into reverse, Patricia threw her Mercedes into park, jumped out, and stormed over to my driver's side window. I rolled it down, curious about what could possibly be so urgent. "Where do you think you're going?" she demanded, her voice shrill enough to startle a nearby squirrel. I blinked. "Home. I'm done getting gas." "Oh, no. You're not done," she said, jabbing a manicured finger at me. "You're going to pump MY gas first." I must have misheard her. "Excuse me." "You heard me," Patricia said, crossing her arms over her chest. "I'm the HOA president. I shouldn't have to pump my own gas. That's what residents like you are for." I stared at her for a long moment, trying to process what she just said. "Ma'am, this is a self-service gas station. Everyone pumps their own gas." Her face turned an impressive shade of crimson. "I don't think you understand how things work around here. I run this community. I make the rules. And I'm telling you that you can pump my gas right now, or there will be consequences." I felt a headache forming behind my eyes. "Mrs. Pemberton, I'm not pumping your gas. You can do it yourself like everyone else." "How dare you?" she shrieked. The volume of her voice echoed off the surrounding buildings. "Do you know who I am? I could have you thrown out of this community. I could fine you into oblivion. I could make your life a living hell." I took a deep breath, counted 10 in my head. "Ma'am, I've done nothing wrong. I paid for my gas, and now I'm leaving. Have a good day." I started to roll up my window, but Patricia grabbed the edge of it with both hands. "You're not going anywhere. This is theft." "Theft?" I couldn't help but laugh. "Theft of what?" "Gas. You're stealing gas by refusing to help me. That makes you a criminal." The absurdity of the situation was almost entertaining. Almost. Mrs. Pemberton, please let go of my truck so I can leave. Instead, she reached into her designer handbag and pulled out her cell phone. Fine. If you won't help me, I'm calling the police. You're about to find out what happens when you cross Patricia Pemberton. I rubbed my temples. Ma'am, I really don't think you want to do that. Oh, I absolutely do. She was already dialing, her fingers stabbing at the screen. Hello? Yes, I need police at Riverside Commons immediately. There's a man here who's threatening me and stealing gas. I couldn't help myself. I'm not threatening you, and I paid for my gas. She put her hand over the phone. Shut up, criminal. Then back to the phone. Yes, he's extremely dangerous. He's in an orange truck, and he's refusing to leave. Please hurry. I sighed and put my truck back in park. This was going to take a while. Patricia ended the call and stood with her arms crossed, a triumphant smirk on her face. The police will be here any minute, and then you'll be arrested. I hope you enjoy jail, you entitled jerk. Mrs. Pemberton, I said calmly, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I'm not. Save it for the cops, she interrupted. I don't want to hear your excuses. We stood there in awkward silence for about 8 minutes. Patricia kept checking her phone, muttering about slow police response times. I considered telling her the truth, but decided it would be more educational if she found out on her own. Finally, a patrol car pulled into the parking lot, lights flashing. 2 officers stepped out. Officers Rodriguez and Chun, both excellent cops who I'd personally hired. They approached with their hands resting casually on their belts, taking in the scene. Rodriguez spoke first. We got a call about a disturbance? Yes. Patricia practically shouted, rushing toward them. Officers, thank God you're here. This man, she pointed at me like I was a murder suspect, refused to pump my gas and is now trespassing on HOA property. Chin glanced at me, and I saw the exact moment recognition hit him. His eyes widened, and he immediately straightened up. Chief. Rodriguez's head snapped toward me. Chief Webb? Sir, we didn't know you were. Chief. Patricia's voice rose an octave. Chief of what? I finally stepped out of my truck, pulling out my badge from my jacket pocket. Police Chief Marcus Webb, ma'am. I live in Unit 2847. The color drained from Patricia's face so fast I thought she might faint. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. These officers work for me, I continued calmly. Officer Rodriguez, Officer Chen, thank you for responding so quickly. However, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Mrs. Pemberton seems to believe I was obligated to pump her gas for her. Rodriguez was clearly trying not to smile. Is that so? She also accused me of stealing gas, even though I have a receipt showing I paid for it. I pulled the receipt from my pocket and held it up. Patricia had gone from pale to bright red again. I didn't. You never said you were. You never asked. I said simply. You just assumed I was someone you could order around. Chin stepped forward. Ma'am, filing a false police report is a serious offense. You claim the chief was threatening you and stealing gas.